Okay, so the next thing we're going to do, now that we've got that little back section, is we're going to do these two little pieces here on the front. So what you want to do for that is you're going to cut a piece of cardstock that's 2 by 12, and then you're going to cut that into two pieces. One that is 4.5 by 2 and one that's 5.25 by 2. And you're going to score each one at 1.5 inch and 1 inch from each of the short ends. So this one I've already done. So you can see we're going to create this kind of a little pocket that's going to go in there. So this is the longer one. So we're going to go 1/2 inch and 1 inch from each of the short ends. And then we're going to put glue on that very back flap. And this is one of those situations where I like to use liquid adhesive for this. So I did it with the smaller section here and the larger section there. You know, you can really kind of do it whichever way you like. And then I actually like to also put a little bit of adhesive between the two sections to kind of hold them together. It just kind of gives it a little bit of stability. So I'll put my first section in first. So that back, you want that back folded part, you want to match that right up to that edge like that. You can kind of grab it inside. It should be scooted all the way down to the bottom. And then you're just going to go ahead and put that next flap over. Like I said, I like to use my liquid adhesive because it lets me kind of wiggle it around a little. And then we're going to put that next section in right next to it. So for this one, I'm going to put adhesive both here and here because I want it to kind of grab that center section just a little bit. But on the outside, I just want it, of course, on just the flap where it adheres. So we're going to do this little section, and then I'm going to show you how to do the lid. And then most of the rest of it, I'll show you how to do the pencil loop, and then most of it is just covering it with your favorite colors of pattern paper. So see, for this section, we're going to not only stick that flap to the back, but we're also going to kind of use some adhesive to kind of grab those flaps together like that. So we've got the stationery box part done. And that goes like this. And so the next thing that we are going to do then is we are going to do our lid. And for the lid, you want a piece of cardstock. And I always use cardstock for the base of these because you can use pattern paper, but what I find is the pattern paper, when you fold it and refold it and score it, it cracks. And I don't like the looks of that. So I like the cardstock because it's pretty thick. And then I just put my pattern paper on for embellishments. So for the lid, we want a piece of paper that's 6 1/8 by 10 1/8. We're going to score it in at 2 inches at all sides. So once again, I'm going to put it over here in my score pal and just go in 2 inches from the edge and just keep moving that around like this till I get a 2-inch score line going on each edge like that. Then I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to fold those in, use my bone folder, get those creases nice and sharp like so. I love my score pal. I use it probably more than almost any other scrapbooking tool. So now I've got a piece that looks like this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to trim these corners in, and I'm going to form this up to fit in, to make into a lid. So I like to do it kind of the same. So if I'm going to cut in this side, then I'm going to cut in the same on the other side. Some people just randomly cut one on each corner. I don't know why. That would bother me. I don't know why it would make any difference. So what we're going to do is we're going to put adhesive on those flaps, and we're going to form that into a lid like that. And then what I did in addition to that is I cut some pieces of pattern paper, and you can see on this lid, what I did is then I wrapped pattern paper all the way around my lid just to kind of reinforce it, and then I also tied a ribbon on there. So just kind of add just a little bit of extra something on there. So I'm going to go ahead and do that part, and then I'll be back in a second and I'll show you how to put a pen loop and a little stamp holder on the inside. Okay, so we are going to do a little booklet of Post-it notes, a pencil holder, and a little stamp holder. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to do the little piece that we're going to put some little Post-it notes in the center here. So we're just going to make it like a little booklet. So I cut a piece of paper that's 3.5 by 7 because Post-it notes are 3 by 3, or this little pad is. And I didn't use a whole pad, I just peeled some off. So it's 3.5 by 7, so we're just going to go ahead and score it at 3.5. So it's just kind of right in the center, and we're just going to fold it in half like this. Now I will tell you, we want to do all these pieces before we decorate the front because we want to use some brads, and this way it will actually hide our brad, the little back sides of the brads. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and we're going to put adhesive on the back of that, and we're going to add some little brads on the top, and then we are just going to tuck our Post-it notes right inside like that. So you can go ahead and use, I just use dry adhesive for this. I don't think it is really going to be that big of a deal. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to put that right inside there like this. And then I'm just going to use the brads for decoration. And I have these little tiny brads that look like buttons. And I did that because my aunt, this project is, or present is for my aunt, and she really likes to sew. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to mark 3 little spots, and I'm going to put my 3 little brads across there. And I'm just going to poke some holes with my paper piercer. So you can use a ruler, you can use a piercing pad if you have one. Since the piece is 3.5 across, that means that my center mark is at 1 3/4. And you don't want to go down very far because remember we've got these Post-it notes are 3 inches. So I went just pick out 3 spots, and you know what, it doesn't have to be all that precise. So I'm using 3 brads for this. And so I found my center mark, and then I went about 1 inch out from the center for my other 2 brads, like so. And then I'm just going to go ahead and put those three brads in there like this. And I have to apologize for the last section of the video. I just watched it and realized that you were probably screaming the whole time, move the camera over so we can see, because I realized that I was off on my camera angle. I'm sorry, it's really hard to tell once you get going which direction the camera's on because it's on a tripod. So I'm going to go ahead and poke those through, and this is actually poking through to the front, but we don't have any pattern paper on that yet, so it's going to be hidden. And then what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take my Post-it notes, and I can go ahead and I just kind of lightly folded that up, and I'm going to put some adhesive on the back, my very last Post-it note like this, and I can just go ahead and tuck that into this little section right over here. And it just makes a great little, booklet in there so she can write some little notes. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to do a pen loop. And for this I need a piece that's 2 by 1.5. And I'm just going to fold that. And you want to fold that kind of around a pencil like this. And of course this pencil is way too long to go in here because you can see it can't be more than 6 inches, but it will kind of give me an idea about how big it needs to be. So we're going to kind of do the same thing. We're going to poke the brad holes all the way through all the layers, and we're just going to affix that pen loop like that. The other thing we're going to do is we're going to do a little stamp pocket, and for that you want a piece that's about 2 by 3, and we're going to score that 1/2 inch on both short sides and 1 long side. And then we'll go ahead and do that. So we'll go ahead and score that little piece. We're going to go ahead and fold that just to make like a little pocket, so you can just put a couple of stamps in there, and then go ahead and trim out those corners like we've done before. Just take that little piece out like that. And then we're going to go ahead and we're just going to fold that. That's going to go right up here like this. Before we do that, I'm going to go ahead and punch out a little half circle out of the center, so that way she'll be able to pull the stamps out like that. So when I get that all done, I might need to kind of refold. Looks like I got kind of some sloppy flaps going on there. So I'll glue those all in, and I'll be back in a second to show you what it looks like. So I want to show you what it looks like now that we're all finished. So I went ahead and after I got all of my pieces on the front, we have our little Post-it notebook, we've got our little stamp insert, we've got our pen loop right here. Obviously I need to find a better pen. I went ahead then and I put the pattern paper on the front, and I give you the dimensions and the directions for what size that needs to be to go on the front and to decorate the 2 sides. On the lid, what I did is I tied some ribbon around there, and then I took my punches and I punched out a little scallop circle and a circle, and then I put my aunt's initial on there and just tied that onto the lid. So when it's all closed up, it's just a really cute little package like this. So as you can see, I went through and I made some tags, I made some little mini note cards, and I made some little A2 size note cards. You can definitely put some hand stamped stuff in here, which would be great. Then I took some more of my scrap paper and I finished decorating the inside. I decorated I put some pattern paper here and here, and all those dimensions are in your directions for what size that you need to do to put this all together. So I hope you enjoyed this project, and this is a great and very inexpensive gift to make for somebody, especially if you've got some great handmade cards to add to it. So thanks, and we'll see you next week.